Welcome back to Dakota News Now. It's time for another edition of Owning Your Outdoors, and joining me as always is Doug Schroeder from Lewis. And Doug, we're talking about lilies this week.
Yes, cannas. If you can't tell from my house, it's one of my favorite plants, and it's growing in popularity every year. The cannas today are a hybrid, and they're a lot different than grandma's mailbox cannas that you used to see. They're tropical, and they come in so many different colors, and they're just fun to grow.
So if they're tropical, that means they probably like a lot of sun, right?
Yes, full sun is what they prefer. Cannas will survive on up to, they need at least 4 hours of sun a day. So they'll do partial shade, but they prefer just bright sun all the time.
What about when it comes to water? When I hear tropical, I usually think it likes a lot of water.
It does like a lot of water. In fact, a lot of people plant cannas along ponds and so forth. They like that much water. So water is very important when you figure out where you're going to plant them. Make sure you have a good water source and keep them moist.
It's a good idea to use the finger test, right?
Yes. One thing I will point out in cannas, and the mistake I see a lot of gardeners do, is they get them started too early. Cannas like ground temps of at least 60 degrees, so don't rush out to plant. If you're going to do cannas in your planters or yard, wait till about the time you plant tomatoes, mid-May to late May, and then get them going.
So you said that you could put them along, say, like a pond, but you also just mentioned you could put them in a planter, right?
You can put them in a planter like I've done here. You can put them in your yard. Just remember they are an annual. They won't be coming back. But boy, what a way to add a lot of color to your yard.
I was going to say we have a lot of color here, of course, with them. And with a lot of water, they're probably going to need a lot of vitamins, a lot of fertilizer.
A lot of fertilizer, yes. I fertilize everything that I have in containers at least once a week. I know that sounds like a lot, but when you're washing that much water through those containers, it's taking out the nutrients, so it's important to replace it.
All right, do any sort of insects like them? Do we need to keep an eye out for anything?
Yes, there are a number of insects that like to nibble on cannas. Japanese beetle being one of them, but there are so many others that like to use it as a food source. I do have a few instances here of where that was Japanese beetle, but we did treat for it, and so we have it under control. But yes, anytime you have a garden, containers, yard, it's important to be diligent and look for problems like that. You can use probably one of the biggest things for that is neem oil for insects. If you are going to use an insecticide, wait till late, almost dusk to use. Bees are active until later in the day, and important to protect the bees.
Do we need to do any sort of deadheading or anything, or just let them go?
The jury's out on that. Some people say no, I say yes. I like to deadhead them. What I usually do is I'll find one here. You can see where the blooms have been spent on it, and I'll go down and snip it there. There's already a brand new one coming up, and they just keep blooming. The one thing about cannas, they are prolific bloomers, and they'll keep going from early or from mid-spring to fall. They'll just keep blooming.
Just keeps adding color and color, right?
Yes, more color all the time.
Doug, any other tips or information we need to know?
No, I encourage everybody to give them a try next year. They are coming in so many colors, and I think you'll have a lot of fun.
All right. We'll have all this information online at dakotanewsnow.com after the show. Doug, thank you for all the information today. Make sure you stick around. We have a break, and then Fastcast is coming up next.